Hey, so we are in a new season. Yay. And
Yay.
it's kind of an interesting beginning because it doesn't feel like it's just the beginning of a new season. It honestly feels like the beginning of a whole new series. And a couple of parts stand out in a way that makes me think maybe they were shopping some ideas to make this a little bit deeper than it has been for the human side. They do go a certain place with the telepaths, and that kind of becomes the focus till the end of the series. And not just Babylon 5, but also Excalibur, which we don't, well, I don't intend to cover Excalibur. It only lasted one season. It was canceled before it really got to do its full run, but, you know,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that happens. I'm going to continue my conventional mantra. WB. WB is awful. They are the reasons why this show actually got canceled. And if we look at the track history of WB to 2025, they are such an awful studio. They make horrible decisions. So,
Mhm. When you said that, I remember the Animaniacs. And like throughout the show, anytime they broke the fourth wall, they were complaining about
yeah,
the
yeah,
studio.
exactly. And it's always the studio execs. And it's baffling because WB has some of the most popular IP, some of the most popular movies out there, and they just don't know what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm.
yeah, they got Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, and they ruined both of those. They got The Matrix, and they ruined that. We're at episode 1 of season 5, entitled No Compromise, and we get to see a lot of new stuff because they have to set up a whole lot for us to get invested to this season because they ended pretty much the entire series last season. They ended it perfectly, and now it's like, oh, okay, we got another season. Fine, let's deal with some of the fallout, and then let's move into the telepath thing.
Yeah. And losing one of the main actors because they didn't know they were getting a new season.
Yeah, we lost Christina. Was it Christina Christensen, who is Susan Ivanova? We watched in the last episode she was being reassigned. That explains her absence, and also it explains the reassignment of the new captain who is appearing on this episode. This is Captain Elizabeth Lochley. I will admit I do like Lochley a lot. I do like her being there. It does shake things up because having the whole Babylon crew there would have felt a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on the one hand, yes, they would be dealing with a lot of wild stuff with familiar people, but I'd like the idea of adding a whole new person as a captain
Mm-hmm.
because it offers an obstacle that all the characters have to deal with her not being so familiar and so close to everybody. I actually like the way that it comes off. They have to relearn things, reestablish these relationships. And there's also the question of like, who are her allegiances to? How is she going to run things? And is she going to ruin things?
Yeah. And like her story, everybody's storylines have gone out. Has like last season, everything broadened out so much. And she's kind of a catalyst to bring everyone together.
There's a funny thing that happens in one scene. When we get there, I'll point it out. But it's between her and our favorite main character, Garibaldi. We'll talk about that in a second. In our intro, we see that the ES Acheron is arriving at Babylon 5. It is surrounded by the Minbari ships and the new Interstellar Alliance ships. She is greeted by David Carwin, and he's explaining how everything is hectic. And she immediately comes in with guns blazing, talking about, oh, a hectic station is a sign of a poorly run station. And I'm like, shut up before Ivanova spaces you. Like, can't be talking trash. Because the person that was running the station for a good portion of the time was Ivanova.
Ivanova don't play. Babylon 5 is just Babylon. That's the point.
Right. It makes me wonder what the other space stations in the universe are like. Babylon 5 seems pretty unique, but it makes me wonder, like, have people been to other stations, or are they that big, or are they smaller? I bet that they're smaller, because Babylon 5 is basically, because it's a diplomatic station and it has like this giant hydroponics area, it's for people to live in it for an extended period of time. So
Yeah.
it might be one of the larger.
And I want to piggyback on that and say a mosh pit is chaos. But there's an order, there's an etiquette. I've never been in one, but I hear people talk about them. But what was I going to say before? Oh, I don't think that any of the other stations in the series seems to have multiple races.
This one, that's what I was saying. It's pretty unique in that aspect too. It makes me remember what the art looked like. Babylon 1 through 4, all of them were bigger than Babylon 5. So that's kind of wild. And then the other stations can't be as big. They probably aren't as hectic. They're probably more run like military bases. Unless they have like science bases, then those probably still have a lot of military personnel.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, speaking of the chaos, as Lochley and Corwin are walking over, it looks like an area in the Zocalo, someone is chasing down a thief and punching him. And it just shows the quote unquote the chaos, the energetic happenings on Babylon 5. We quickly switch over to see that there is a ranger who's captured and he is being beaten and tortured, and he has a sign attached to his head and he is murdered. And this kind of sets us off on our major mystery for the episode, because someone wants to send a message to Babylon 5 in the form of a dead man. It's a ranger. The guy asks him, do you have any last words? And the ranger says, we live for the one, we die for the one. And then bro certainly died. We then see Sheridan is getting ready for breakfast. He's in his Sheridan Suites robe. There we go. That's he's in his Sheridan Suites robe. And it looks like he's getting coffee. And Delenn is like fully clothed, ready to go. And they have this back and forth because they're trying to figure out like, okay, now that we're married, how are we going to handle this whole quarters situation? She's trying to get back to her quarters before anybody sees her because she don't want to answer questions like what she's been doing, which is fine. Okay, cool. But also she says she'd rather handle Minbari business in a Minbari environment. And in their conversation, they reveal like both of their quarters are too small to hold all of their things. And so they're just going to agree to stay in their individual quarters and they'll have their nightly visits until their offices on Minbar are complete. And that is giving us a hint that these characters are eventually going to leave Babylon 5 and they probably won't come back. But the question is, when is that going to happen? Right? Like, are we just not going to see Sheridan after a while? Are we not going to see Delenn after a while? That makes you feel a little sad because you've been with both of these two for 4 seasons. Well, with Delenn for 5 seasons. Now,
unless they just expand the story, because they do very well with opening different storylines. And so there's probably different storylines going on where we get to just see more of Minbar.
That would be so cool. So Sheridan meets with Lochley. No. What happens is we see there's a maintenance drone that discovers a capsule with the dead ranger in it, and they bring that on board. Then we see that Lochley is meeting with Sheridan, and they're having their first discussion. And it's kind of cool because, okay, we don't know anything about this Lochley character. Not really. And so they're revealing bits and pieces to us. And they're getting us used to understanding like there's some tension here. And I appreciate that. There's the whole conversation of why did Sheridan choose for Lochley, which he chose her specifically. He knew who she was. He liked her record. But more than anything, they wanted to make sure that after the Civil War on Earth, that they pick somebody from Earth Force to be the captain of Babylon 5. Because even though we aren't an independent state, we're still from Earth, and we're not going to forget where we came from. And Lochley, she immediately speaks up about this too. She was like, okay, cool. I'm not going to be second guessed. I'm not going to be your mouthpiece, and I'm not going to be micromanaged. And he says, exactly. In fact, let's make a deal. Any political stuff I'll handle, and all of the earth and military stuff you handle. And they kind of have their deal. She has real authority on the station, but she's not going to be like talking to the ambassadors and stuff like that. So I get that, but there is one thing about all of her. We do see that she attends some of those meetings. She's in there. And it makes sense because she's concerned about what's going to happen on the station. She is the master, the the commander of, right? They kind of have a really good arrangement there, but it also points out like there might be some points of tension.
Because it's not enormously clear about what is diplomatic and what is the station. Because it's a diplomatic station. Like having all those people there from all those places running that is diplomatic. Like what is she supposed to do? Wait command to shoot somebody if they come by when they're not supposed to? What?
And when they're about to finish this conversation, Sheridan is leaving, and Lockley goes, "Hey, you never asked me what side did I fought on during the Earth Civil War." And Sheridan, he looks extremely confident and bold. He goes, "Yeah, sure did I?" And then he just walks off. And I thought that was cool because he's pointing out he doesn't care what your allegiance was. He cares that you're a human, that you're qualified, and that you're going to do the right thing for the station. Now I'm gonna tell you, I got my suspicions about Lockley just from the way that she's been behaving. I think she probably didn't play that large of a role in the Battle of Earth, but I guarantee you she just followed the chain of command,
Yeah.
just taking orders. And I wonder, it also comes across like she wasn't really morally conflicted about it. She's like, I'm on the side of Earth, no matter who is the president, even though the president is an incompetent fascist. So we switch to see that Garibaldi is talking to Zach, and he's trying to get him all together about inspecting the station and what he needs to do as the chief of security. And Zach is all like, "Bro, I know what I'm doing." And Garibaldi's like, "Yeah, I've been doing this job a long time, so you got to make sure this. And the thing is, Zach knows. Zach is up to speed because Zach is actually competent with his job.
And like I just thought about it. Garibaldi rarely did his job. Like he did it when he felt like it, when there was something else to be done. It was the grunts that did all the work. So the people who a person who used to be one of his grunts would know that job better than him.
As he's lecturing Zach, he walks right past the guy who is going to be threatening to kill Sheridan. They pay him no mind. His spider sense doesn't go off. His nosiness doesn't go off. He's all about Zach at this moment. And I know I give Garibaldi a hard time, but they keep depicting him as kind of like one of the worst people. so it's not my fault. And then just then in Sheridan's quarters, he receives a text message, which I think this is hilarious because in the future, people receive text messages with their TVs. It's almost like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs was given a keynote, like in the future, you can read your text messages on TV. Which you can.
They didn't have texting back then.
Let me think. Season 5 was around 1996. The most that you got was like,
maybe,
a beeper, some cell phone stuff. Well, what's it called? T9, where you have to press the buttons a bunch of times to get the letters. So it wasn't an easy thing. And I don't even know if they had T9 in 1996. It could have been something that came out in like 1999, 2000. So, yeah.
Probably. Yeah, because I think about it, no. Yeah, because I didn't have a smartphone until like 2010.
Yes, phones were.
But then smartphones were expensive.
I remember the first smartphone that I had. It was a Samsung, and it was garbage. It was so like nothing worked. The touchscreen didn't work. The little rollerball didn't work. Smartphones didn't work well until Apple came out with the iPhone, and then all of a sudden, smartphones just became great. We switch from there. We see that Lockley is sitting down to have dinner in the mess hall, and I like this part because there's a lot going on sonically and visually. It's a lot of people mingling and whatnot. We've seen this before between Sinclair and the crew, or Sheridan and the crew sitting down and eating. Lockley's eating by herself. She locks eyes with a mysterious man. When they lock eyes, all of the sound of people mingling and talking and eating completely goes silent. But people are still moving around. And he talks to her in such a clear, crispy, clear voice. And she notices this too. And he's trying to introduce himself, and he's like, hey, I need to have a meeting with you in Brown 3. She's kind of like, what makes you think that I'm going to meet with you? and
The shady
and
place.
and he's like, well, because my people are coming. That's kind of cryptic. And then he like gets up. She turns her head to look around. She looks back. Bro is gone. He Batman's out of that place. We don't know how he left. He is clearly a telepath. And I think that is going to be like the major conflict or the major challenge that Captain Lockley is going to face. So, nice introduction. The thing with this guy, his name is Byron. He looks weird. He's wearing that puffy 90s suit. He has the long pressed hair. And I know they're supposed to make these guys look weird and different, but man, they made him look extremely weird.
Yeah, it is pretty off-putting the way he just looks.
So Jakar is in his quarters. He's struggling to write. Sheridan interrupts him, and he barges in and says, hey, I need you to write the oath of office and the declaration. I heard that the words that you spoke before during the Narn Centauri War, it was amazing. Make the hairs on my neck stand up. You are a fantastic writer. Please, Jakar, write for me. I thought it was pretty interesting, this whole back and forth, because we do learn that the Narn are born with temporary names. It's kind of interesting because I think this is where Sheridan is saying he's just having a hard time getting used to the term president, and he wants to make it all official and all of that. But what we learned about the Narns is because life on Narn is very difficult. Many Narns die in childhood, so they get like a temporary name until they get to the age of 10. At that point, it's like, oh, okay, you might live long enough. So then they get to choose their true name, which becomes their permanent name. And they choose it based on the beliefs that they choose to follow. So there are several beliefs, Jaquan and all this stuff. But then they get to choose their name. And I guess that reflects their who and how they're following. And it's kind of cool. And he was just saying for Sheridan, like, maybe this is when you get to choose your true name. And that was just kind of a cool perspective. Like, even though he's in an in-between space, just kind of waiting for things to happen, he's going to be able to name himself, choose for himself how he will be known.
Yeah, and I got out of it that well, I remember that there are cultures on the in the earth that do that or who have done that in the past because the birth rate of children was always so bad until like the last 200 years. You never knew if a child was going to live. So like I know when I took African American studies, they taught us about some African culture and my professor was actually from Ghana. And yeah, he said that they don't officially name the children until they're at least 2 weeks old.
Yeah,
They used
you
to
don't want to waste a good name on.
yeah.
That's so bad to say, but it's like people want to make sure that you're going to stick around for a bit.
They didn't want to like have to warn them that quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Um, and Jakar, he enthusiastically agrees that he's going to write all of this for Sheridan. He says, I'm going to lock myself in Mortal Kombat with the words until one of us submits. And I'm like, I've never been so aggressive with language. But I mean, that's why you grab a more Shakespearean actor to do these type of things.
Yeah. I mean, I related to him like when I get to like
Mm-hmm.
close to publishing and I'm ready to move on to the next project, I just attack that thing
Yeah.
because I want to get it done so I can move on to the next thing. and not have all these
Yeah.
worlds mixed up in my head.
Lockley meets Franklin in med lab. They confirmed that the ranger was murdered and that he was being dumped on Babylon 5. Actually, it was Corwin who said, "You don't want to look at that." And she's like, "Nope, I need to see it." And she pulls the sheet back, and he was killed somewhere else. He was dumped out, and he had a message. And they're like, "Oh God." So she's getting a first hand look at like the type of chaos that comes to Babylon 5.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I'm like, she's a military officer.
Yeah,
She's seen dead bodies before, I would hope, or at least
at some
expect
point.
to
Yeah, especially
at
if
some
she
point.
was the captain of her own ship. And Franklin, he's talking to her about all of that, and I thought this was kind of interesting because he goes, because after all of the explanation, he goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, hi, nice to meet you." When we first attempted to record this and it didn't work, I was asking like, is that like what is that? Is that Franklin making his attempt to see if he can make his move? Now I'm joking, but at the same time, he's never done that with any character unless it was a woman he was interested in. Everybody else, he's super official.
Hmm. Well, I mean, she just kind of barged in, and he's going through his arc
Yeah.
now, his character arc. Now he's um a little more grounded. He's not as serious, and that might be where that serious, because he took himself way too seriously before
His
and didn't
Messiah
allow
complex is
himself
a little,
to be. Yeah.
I don't know what to say, better managed.
And he could be well, more, and we haven't seen this act out in the story because it's only the first episode of this season, but he's maybe wants to take it more, not be so serious after losing his somewhat best friend, closest thing to a best friend, Marcus, who also had the same drive as him to help people, but he didn't take himself seriously at all.
Yeah.
They're the complete opposite. So maybe I'm thinking it could be that he's taken on a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
that and learned
Okay.
from
Because
Marcus.
they did have a really cool friendship. Man, so
Yeah.
that's another missed opportunity that they could have spent to further develop Franklin's character. Just to kind of
Mhm.
delve into the type of friendship that he had with Marcus and how his death would have affected him. You know, but what do I know? I don't write
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, we get affected when Michael gets shot in the back, but Marcus Holes dies. The one who's idiot and nearly gets dead, but the one who's like purposely dies to help someone and is the best at what he does. Like, he's the complete opposite of Michael. Like,
Yeah. So Lockley gets called away to her appointment with Byron, and she has security accompany her. When she goes down to the meeting, she's walking through a corridor in Brown 3, and at the other end, there's Byron, and also out comes a ton of telepaths. And she's like, "You don't think I'm just stupid, do you?" And then out comes a bunch of security that surrounds the telepaths. And she's like, "There's no way I was coming down here alone." They check out the telepaths and they're like, "Okay, they're clear." So basically, they were like, "No weapons." And then security leaves. All right, I got questions here because if she recognizes that these are telepaths, they're not immediately apprehending them. That means she probably is want to figure out things before she's like, "Yeah, we need to get Psychor in here," you know. So maybe that shows a little bit of prudence and strategy with her.
yeah. We also didn't see her get security to come to the meeting. She didn't, because obviously
Yeah,
there was a meeting, because they were in place. They came out of their hiding places on cue and everything. So Um, she had a lot up her
Right.
sleeve. There might
And
be
then
some
he just
more.
like they just left. So we know that Byron doesn't mean her any harm. He actually asks her, "We're all rogue telepaths. Here is my team of X-Men telepaths. None of them speak, but they all have different unique looks, and it appears that they have different unique powers too. And this is another missed opportunity because I imagine the show if they could have actually went forward and focused on those telepaths as if they were an X-Men like team, which the X-Men are a team of mutants who they're together to protect humanity and mutants from people that hate them, but then also try to foster a new world where they can coexist peacefully. This is
Mm-hmm.
happening in 1996. The peak of like everything. Marvel Comics is super popular. Marvel cartoons, comic book movies are starting to like bubble up and get their things going. People like comics, and they had the opportunity to like dip their toes in that world, and it seemed like that they wanted to, but they definitely back way off after a while.
Unless that's just a weird way the 90s was going to introduce characters that we weren't going to get that much
Right.
invested in. They are kind of like just side characters, so they're almost like red shirts. It's like, yeah, we gotta mention the fact that they have powers because that's the whole point of them being here. But other than that, this is just a diplomatic issue between the
Yeah.
captain and the
Pretty
president.
much.
And so, yeah,
They
like
all get names. They
because
all
there's a
get
lot of
names too.
they all get names. Yeah, I mean, like they also do this, and I feel like this happens a lot, maybe in sci-fi, but it feels like to me when we get introduced to another culture, like, even with Centauri and Narn culture, we get bits and pieces throughout things. We never like just get to learn the
Mm-hmm.
culture. They haven't fully flushed out the culture. It's just this is a different culture. They're
Yeah.
aliens and we humans are dealing with it.
Right.
So that's what they are. They're kind of like other
But
aliens,
yeah,
but they're human.
we're treating
We're
them like
treating
the
them
other,
like
which that's a
aliens
pretty
in
good
this.
metaphor too, right? To take humans and make them the other, which actually strips them of their humanity. And so now we have to figure out how the characters are going to deal with this. Are they going to do so humanely, or are they going to be like everyone else and try to remove their humanity?
Mhm. And making them look weird is also another part of them taking their
Yes,
humanity, not making them like
conventionally
conventionally
attractive. Yeah.
active.
Jinx. No. There they meet the mute telepath, Simon, and he projects to her an image of a bouquet of flowers, which apparently is something that he does when he likes someone. They mention like he doesn't talk mentally or physically. And later we find out like it's not that he can't, he just chooses not to. And there's a lot that goes on. There's a lot around this character. I'm gonna come back to that in a second. So we switch to see Delenn. She's finishing up a meeting with the game ambassador. That's the bug looking aliens that are wearing that black suit and the long snouted breather thing, and they're holding a ball as their translator. And I looked at this so much closer. It reminds me of a Doctor Who villain. You know those aliens that hold the balls in their hand for some reason. Um, you know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah, that's what it
yeah.
made me think of. And you are right. They do sound like insects because as she's talking, you can hear the chattering that's coming from her, but then you hear her vocal box is speaking in like a humanoid voice. You can understand it, and I thought that was kind of a cool detail there.
Yeah.
So that means that there are more than one insectoid species on the station. Because remember in episode one that giant praying mantis thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense if you're going to think about it in a evolutionary way, that different types of forms that will eventually become space worthy would evolve in different ways where they would actually be able to manipulate things around them. And insects are enormously good at manipulating things around them. So them becoming intelligent enough to have space flight makes complete and total sense. They're just a clever plot. They're a plot device right now. You know what? A lot of the cool cultural things that we could go into are just plot devices
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah. Well, it's again, this is episode one. But the
Right.
game have been around, I think, since episode one. We could have learned more about them. They really haven't. The only time the game have ever spoken up is during the council meetings. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, it's not too bad. All right. So after Delenn is finishing with the game ambassador, they see that there's a person who is, well, not that they see it. We as the audience see that there is a person following them. And so, okay, cool. Here's the killer. He is following. We're thinking, oh no, he's going to kill Delenn. Sheridan receives a second message, and this time it's an audio message. This is a voicemail he gets. So he got text and voice messages to his TV. When it plays, basically the guy is saying that he's comparing Sheridan to past presidents, and they had paid the price in death by sending other people to war. He's blaming Sheridan for the Civil War and all the people that died in it. And so he's going to hold him responsible. While he's talking, we see the assassin himself. He's putting on a air mask. He's going down into the alien sector. The game, we get to see what the game looks like without a mask. And I got a closer look this time. It is definitely an insect, maybe a giant ant type of creature. They don't have mandibles though. It has like these weird squiggly things at the end of their mouth. But dude shoots the game and steals the game suit. And the more and more I think about it, that's super sad because the game has never hurt anybody in this entire show ever.
No, no. All they do is speak up
They're the most
occasionally.
innocent creatures. They haven't had a fight. They haven't pointed a gun at nobody. They were just like, nah, bro, you can't have our ships. That's it. So we quickly switch back to Med Lab. We see that Byron is there with all his mutants. I'm sorry, with all his telepaths. And they're getting checked up on, and they're having Franklin do an examination of Simon, the young one who doesn't speak. And I noticed what he said is like he has full vocal cords, they're just atrophied. So bro can speak, he just chooses not to. And why doesn't? He's like, we don't know. And so as he's doing that, Simon sends a message to Franklin, and it's an image of a girl. And Byron explains, yeah, he does that. We don't know who she is. All we know is that he feels extremely guilty over her death. And he explains further that Simon was found on Mars. He was a tunnel rat. He likes to sneak around in small spaces.
Oh, that explains that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Don't come back up.
yeah, yep. That explains that. Franklin was talking about how they were malnourished, and Byron is like, "Look, we're rogue telepaths. We're on the run. We don't have the privilege to go out to eat. You know, we get to eat what we can." And after that, Franklin gives Simon a clean bill of health, but then he gets called away. And when he turns his back, the entire crew of telepaths Batmaned out of there, completely disappeared, no trace. It's like,
Uh-huh.
I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it kind of adds to the fact that they're in hiding.
Mm-hmm.
They can't be seen.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, like, did they just appear in Med Lab too? Did people not see them approach? That would be kind of interesting.
Mm.
So it's like, who is Franklin in there talking to?
Yeah, and then also like you question whether or not they're using their telepathic abilities because they could be blocking the same way he blocked the leader blocked her sound of everybody. They could be blocking what they see. And it was like, y'all don't see me no more.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So we get to see Sheridan, Delenn, and Garibaldi. They're having a heated debate. I thought this was funny. So they're like in the war room or in one of the main offices, um, along with Ambassador Jakar and Londo. Franklin's in there. Like everybody's in there, and they're having a debate over whether the inauguration is going to happen or not. And Garibaldi is going off. He's like, "Look, this guy is. He knows our systems. He's a specialist. We need to find him. You can't be out in the public." But Sheridan pushes back. He's like, "Look, that's the problem. All of our leaders are always hiding behind glass and concrete and security, and they're never walking among the people. I think it's about time for us to just stop acting scared because that would be a prison if that's the way it was." He's making a great point. He's about to become the president, and he doesn't want his entire life to be him being hidden away because he wouldn't be able to do what he's good at.
Hmm. Except for when he's along with the land.
So this is the part that I thought was pretty funny. This is the part that I was hinting at earlier. In the back, Captain Lockley is just chilling in the back, but she is staring laser beams at Garibaldi. She is so irritated that he's there. It took me
Smart woman.
yeah, it took me my recent watch to see that she really don't like that he's even in that room. I thought it was pretty funny. Um
No, because like no, we haven't got to it yet, but it goes with this. Like I'm watching that part. Like, why is he here?
right, he's
Why? And then later she goes, "You're not even supposed to be here."
right. That conversation happens like right after this one. But what's also funny is what the other people say because like they're trying to get, we're trying to get everybody's perspectives, right? Londo, being the genius that he is, he's like on Centauri, inaugurations do nothing but signify to the assassins that a new target has been identified. And it's kind of like, well, thank you for making us all feel so good about this inauguration, Londo.
Well, at the last episode, he's like, "Who died?" When they were celebrating
Like who died? Yeah.
on
Uh,
our planet. This is a funeral. We're
right.
celebrating.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
now celebrate death and mourn weddings. Like,
Right.
okay.
They have the most complicated and miserable culture. They drink themselves silly, but then they have to do all of this important imperialist stuff. It's like, nah, bro. I don't want to be a Centauri no more.
Mhm.
um so Lockley, she supports Sheridan's decision to continue the inauguration. She doesn't care. Um Garibaldi, he urges her to intervene, but she's just like, no, like Sheridan's right. So I don't know what you want me to say. He is right. And then when they walk out, um, Garibaldi and Lockley have their confrontation, which I've been waiting on this, thinking about it. He's trying to tell her, like, look, I don't know what you know, but let me tell you how things go around here, lady. Sheridan needs to be protected from himself. And Lockley is like, Garibaldi, why were you even in that room? You don't work here. You don't even work here.
My choice. He quit.
Right. Yeah, exactly. She's like, I know you and Sheridan are friends, but you're not a chief of security. Like, you don't belong here. And he's trying to get back at her. And he's like, look, she was like, look, if you're so concerned with his security, you should re-enlist with Earth Force. And then she just marches on out. And it was kind of like, somebody shut Garibaldi up. That's
Hmm.
awesome. So we quickly see that Simon is scrambling through the air ducts And we know why. He's a tunnel rat, so apparently he feels comfortable doing that. And he sees that the assassin is putting some stuff together, and he's stolen the game's encounter suit. And he's like, "Oh shoot, what's going on?" He goes ahead to probe the assassin, and he sees that he has the plan to shoot Sheridan at the inauguration. And it startles him, and he hits his head on the ceiling or the top of the vent, and it makes a noise. The assassin is like, "Oh shoot, somebody's here." So he just quietly grabs his gun, blasts a bunch of shots at the ceiling, and then he just waits. And we see that Simon was hit because there's a trickle of blood coming from the ceiling. And then he quickly grabs his stuff and leaves. I would tell you, watching that was really rough because honestly, Simon, even though he's a little weird, and that's what he's supposed to come off as, it's sad because he didn't hurt anybody. He didn't do anything. He's just realizing that this guy's doing something bad, and he got shot for it.
My mind went to a completely different place. I was not worried about him. That sounds terrible. But because the other one was doing the tricks with the psychic tricks with the sound, and they're possibly doing tricks with the visuals by hiding themselves and doing the Batman thing, I thought that he may have been giving him that vision because he already showed that he can give visions. He both showed the person he feels responsible for and the flowers. And that maybe that was a trick that he learned as a tunnel rat on Mars to get people off his scent, to give them a vision of what he wants them to see so that he can get away.
Mm.
I went
Okay, I
really
got
far with my imagination with that one instead of just on the damn screen.
you. Yeah, that happens sometimes though. A lot of headcanon because sometimes the writers set up some cool stuff, but then we're like, oh, they should have done this. You know.
Yeah, I think I gave them a little too much credit at that point because they hadn't done anything else in this episode yet to show that they were going to go that far with anything.
Yeah. So right after that, we see that everybody is in the main hall where the inauguration is gonna happen. Um, Jakar's there. Everybody's there, and when Sheridan walks in, he's talking to Delenn. Sheridan says, "I thought we were gonna be discreet with the president of security," and Delenn is like, "This is discreet because Mr. Garibaldi suggested some wild stuff, and we this is the compromise." And he's like, "What did he suggest?" Well, he wanted everyone strip searched as they came in, and Sheridan decided, like, yeah, this is better than seeing Ambassador Londo naked. And at that point, he waves at Londo, and Londo waves back kind of stupidly, and I was just like, oh god.
When you said that part, I just remembered that they have like 9 parts.
Yeah, yeah, they have several of their members.
Reproductive. Reproductive members. They have
Yeah,
9.
9 of them. Yeah. While that's going on, uh, while that's going on, Garibaldi is scanning the security feeds, and he finally figures out the identity of the assassin, his name, but he lacks a description. And at that point, the assassin is disguising himself as the game, and he just infiltrates the hall, no problem, because security doesn't know what to look for, right?
They didn't do a
It
strip search
just
either.
right. He should have done the strip search. He would have found him. Dang. So that means the one time the Garibaldi's right, nobody listens to him because he's been wrong and messed up for so long. So Simon's alive and he's trying to break through. Security stops him, but Franklin's like, no, let him through. He falls through, and he doesn't know he can't talk. So he sends the image of the assassin to everybody. And when they look up, there he is as the game, and he takes his helmet off. He's about to shoot Sheridan. Then this part I thought was a little. I mean, I get it. It's funny, but 2 security officers jump up to shoot him. He blasts one of the security officers before anybody can see anything happening. and then the other one shoots at him, but then he just runs out. So they thwarted the assassination attempt. They lost a security member, but the assassin ran away. Sheridan is like, no, we need to send a message that we will not be intimidated. So we're going to continue with this inauguration. So they're moved to the observatory, and the assassin, he's running out. He actually ran down to the docking station. And we're thinking like, oh, he's about to escape. Back on the observatory, we finally get the opportunity to hear what the inauguration was going to be like. And Jakar is a wonderful writer because I love what he wrote here. Because he has a very thick book. This is the book that he let Garibaldi borrow for a second, and then it came back with coffee stains. But and Garibaldi thought it was good, but Jakar is just like, I'm not letting you borrow nothing no more. But he starts off with his preamble to the oath, and he goes, "Whoever speaks for the Alliance speaks with one voice for many. Consequently, this contains," and he holds up the book, consequently, this contains the first page of every holy book of every race that has joined the new alliance. Whoever speaks for the alliance does so with the understanding that it is an inalienable right of every sentient being to live free, to pursue their dreams, to address wrongs within their own society with no fear of retribution, to believe as their conscience requires in matters of faith, and to also respect the rights of others to believe differently or not at all." So I'm like, yeah, that was great. It sounds like what the United Nations should be.
It sounds like the theme of the show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's J. Michael Straczynski, you know. It also sounds like the Interstellar Alliance is trying to be kind of like what the new United Nations are, but for a galaxy. Just as he's about to get Sheridan to put his hand on the book to begin to being sworn in, right out the observatory, one of the Star Furies appears. Lights are blazing, and it is aimed right at President Sheridan. And he's like, "Everybody out, Sheridan, you stay." What he's trying to do is, what he's doing is he's getting Sheridan's attention. I do think it's kind of cool that he's giving everybody else the opportunity to leave.
Yeah, and
That's cool.
especially
He's
since
just not shooting.
yeah, I thought like that was a nice touch, especially since he's targeting him based on the fact that other people have died based on what he believes was his decision.
Yeah. And so this is where he blames Sheridan for the Civil War. He was saying like, "I'm gonna send you to hell." And what we do see that is just right behind him is Garibaldi in his own Star Fury, still wearing his suit. He's not like geared up for War Star Fury, which I got a lot of questions about that. And he attaches on to the assassin's Star Fury, and he uses his boosters to get him away from the observatory and away from the station. Garibaldi is like, "Oh shoot, I don't know if I can hold this thing together. We're gonna fall apart."
Mm-hmm.
But he keeps going. He's like, "Hey," he's talking to whoever's on comms. He's like, "Hey, are we far away enough?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're getting station weapons online." As soon as he does, he's like, "Am I clear?" He's like, "Yep, you're clear." He lets him go, and then the station guns blast the Star Fury, and it just collapses, like falls apart and explodes.
Mm-hmm.
And we have thwarted the assassin.
Mm-hmm.
With the threat over, Jakar walks over to Sheridan and he goes, "Hey, you want to be president?" And Sheridan's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Put your hand on the book and say I do." So all of that.
I love that part.
So yeah, yeah, because all of that stuff that he prepared, because Jakar, he was very excited about writing it, and his writing is being appreciated, and he's like, "You know what? Let's just get this over with."
Look, before you die, we could say these words some other time. Like, just put your hand.
Yeah, we can make this pretty later.
He's very practical too. Like he's very uh
pragmatic when it comes down to it.
But he's also the opposite.
Yeah.
Like I can't grandiose.
he can be.
He can be
Yeah,
grandiose,
yeah, he.
but he's also very
Yeah,
humble about being grandiose. It's
yeah,
it doesn't make any sense, but yeah, I'm saying that.
yeah. So, um, with all of that over, we see that Sheridan is meeting with Byron, and Sheridan is mourning Simon's sacrifice because Simon did sacrifice his life to keep Sheridan alive, and nobody got hurt. And he was like, so how, what was going on with you and Lockley? Byron is like, we asked if we could have refuge here, but she turned us down, so we don't have a place to live. And Sheridan goes like, well, not necessarily. You see, Lockley and I have a deal. I handle all the diplomatic and political stuff. She handles military stuff. So you actually can stay here. We'll give you Brown Sector. It's not pretty. It's not going to be great, but it'll be a place for you to stay, and maybe later we can, improve things.
Hmm.
And it was kind of a really interesting way to see these characters are opposing each other, not directly to each other now, but by policy,
Yeah,
and that's gonna come to a head later
yeah. I mean, the
as
first
well.
time they said that, I'm like, that sounds like trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And then we switch. We see Garibaldi is visiting Lockley's office, and he's a lot more chatty now.
Mhm.
And he says, I had a talk with the president, and he goes, I like the way that sounds. I spoke to the president. Um, and he's going on and on about how he took Lockley's words very serious about reinstating himself in Earth Force. But he said, you know what? Actually, what I did, I talked to the president, and he agreed with me. And right now, you are looking at the new head of Interstellar Alliance Covert Intelligence.
Mm.
So he just made himself kind of basically a CIA agent.
Yep.
And he's working on the president's staff.
Hmm.
And she, honestly, she looks vaguely annoyed. She kind of doesn't care.
Yeah.
She's just like, whatever.
I'm like, why that
Whatever.
position? I mean, maybe because it's Garibaldi and he is a little more, I'm gonna use the word again, grandiose than he claims to
Very
be. He
grandiose.
is very much, but he keeps like talking as though he's not, which is just a straight up lie at this point. But like, it would make more sense for him to be like presidential security since his main focus is just looking out for his friends. And since his friend is the president, that would make more sense and that would be more
Yeah.
honest. But okay, your job is to be nosy now. All right, that makes sense, I guess. Yeah.
Right. Which, I mean, Garibaldi and intelligence, I don't know how those things will mix well in the future
Mhm.
because
But
he don't be telling nobody nothing.
yeah, he just wants to keep all the information for himself until he can use it. Like, is that going to be helpful? Because are you just going to end up getting shot in the back again?
Right. The conversation then switches to how Garibaldi found out that the assassin had previously served with Lockley, and she comments on it like, "Yeah, he was a great officer. He had a great record. Couldn't talk him up any bigger.
Hmm.
But then he went bad, which that means he was jaded after the Earth Civil War, which literally happened. Well, to us it happened last episode, but that's like last season, so that could be a year
Yeah.
ago. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how long it's been between seasons, so maybe not that long because Sheridan and Delenn are still living on the station. Maybe it's a few weeks, and so Garibaldi is on his way out. He goes, "You know what? I never asked you during the Earth Civil War. Who did you fight for?" And she goes, "For Earth, Garibaldi. Didn't we all fight for Earth?" And then she walks out. And I like this exit for her because she's not there to foil anybody. She's there to do a
Hmm.
job. And she knows, like, these people, we were on opposite sides before, but now we're on the same side, and I'm going to do the best that I can. And really, like, she's not saying that she fought for Earth Alliance against the Interstellar Alliance, or if she covertly was on their side. No. And like I said, I don't think that she was. I think that she was 100% Earth Alliance and did follow orders. But she's not making it a big deal. She's not making it a personal vendetta. Her whole thing is like, I'm gonna be the best captain, and that's what it is. That's what business is. And Garibaldi trying to figure out like if there's going to be a personal situation there gets kind of pushed back, even though we kind of like we can confirm like, okay, we weren't on the same side. She's a no nonsense captain, so she's going to be down for the people, but she's going to do it a certain way. So that was the end of this episode. A lot of beginnings. It does come across as like a pilot for a new show. There's a lot of new things being introduced, and we're also getting kind of a send off for our main characters. Not like a send off like we're never seeing them again, but like we're wrapping up some stories. Mm-hmm. For instance, Garibaldi, they had to figure out what to do with him. So him getting this new position puts him in a place similar to his old position, but he's not under her. Which, thank God, because Garibaldi working as the chief of security under her would probably be a disaster.
I mean, it kind of already has been, but
it does feel like this is a start of a completely new series. I do like they put Captain Lochley in the Earth Force uniform, and like the other characters are in the Babylon 5 uniforms. It's really cool because you could just see how they starkly oppose each other.
That's always nice to be able to tell who's who.
Ultimately, it was a little soft, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Because they had to bring the stories all the way down, because they got to rebuild towards something new. And maybe that was what was bothering me at first. Like, this doesn't feel so epic. And the truth is, it shouldn't. It should feel like we don't know where we're going to go. And I kind of appreciate that.
I have to consider the context. Sorry. Because, like, I'm used to sometimes, like, an anime with that a battle, and then, like, sometimes there's explosive openings. So I didn't know what.
Yeah.
It also kind of slowed down the pace with everything changing. Everyone needs to get used to how they're going to portray their new dynamics. I mean, we've got Jakar and Londo being goofy when they were just at war, right? One of them just had the other one tortured, right? And now they're like, and now Mike Franklin's less serious. We got two of our favorite characters gone. Now Sheridan has to be president, and Michael's still Michael, I guess. He just doesn't have any authority. He ends up getting some, but like,
yeah. Right. I'm not going to poll us to see what we expect for this season. I just think that we will have to spend a couple of episodes to see how this develops. But it looks like the thing with the telepaths is going to be our big story. And if they do try to go the X-Men route, that would be kind of cool. And if they don't, that's cool too, I guess. There's just so much opportunity there. So, with that, let's get on up out of here. Thank y'all for joining us for this edition of Voices in Hyperspace. We are on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and you can follow our YouTube. We're also on all of your favorite streaming platforms. Be sure to like, share, and follow, and keep the conversation going by joining our Facebook group and see us in the comments on YouTube. I'm Legendary Black Lion. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Legendary Black Lion. Be sure to connect with me and let's talk some sci-fi stuff.
I'm Mel Asylum. You can find me at millsrebellion.com, where there are links to my book, Unwavering the System, and my TikTok, my YouTube, and I think my Instagram. But that's Mel's Rebellion too.
Awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us for this episode, and we'll see you out there. Peace.